Amazing. Thanks so much for sitting down with me. Your name, Uzumaki, I know is not your given name. It's a name that you've chosen. And I know it means spiral. And I'm interested in what that meaning of spiral is for you, especially as a kind of identity that you've chosen to take on.
I chose this name because I felt like my life, there was always some spiraling going on, whether it was downwards or upwards. So I definitely, also during that time that I chose that name, I kind of really started my spiritual journey, and I was just learning about energy and how it spirals, and I was just like, I became like infatuated with that.
I was also made aware that Uzumaki is the last name for Naruto.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing just even in the space, there's quite a lot of influences from Japanese cartoons, anime work, also sort of Miyazaki work as well. And I'm wondering what role sort of these Japanese references have played in your life.
I was really inspired by different anime series growing up, and I always wanted to be in anime too. I just love the idea of somebody creating a world, everybody being able to get into it. That's basically how my art is. It's like, okay, I didn't make an anime, but I made an experience people could feel out. This installation is basically a recreation of my bedroom studio apartment that I had over a year ago. So I had a loft bed and it was orange, and I had stuff under, but it wasn't this cute. It was just like ran down by that point.
So how did you end up here with now your own space in Los Angeles and living here? What is that kind of arc?
That is a long arc. It consisted of, so the first time I came to Los Angeles, I moved here. So basically, like, I didn't know what the fuck I was jumping into. I just had a partner at the time that was crashing with some friends in this illegal loft in the Fabric District, but we didn't know it was illegal. There was like over like 200 people living there. There was like 10 people living in this loft. I came and I crashed, and while I was there, I messed up on one of my pieces. So since I was around the Fabric District, I went to this fabric spot that I used to walk past every day, and I got some like royal blue, like faux fur. I came back home, I covered a canvas because I fucked up on it, and it ended up working out. Like I hung it up, and I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next day I made a chair, and then a dining table, and then it just evolved, and like the sense of community and like the narrative to itself was developing on its own because I had a community around me there already, and they were the ones who were putting like a lot of input on everything, and yeah.
I'm kind of thinking just about you living in a legal loft with a lot of other artists and speaking about finding community there, because there's kind of this duality of both something being precarious, that it's illegal, but also like being comforted by those around you.
Right.
I'm curious, like, if these kinds of juxtapositions are things that you are interested in with your work.
Yeah, 100%. Like everything that I've went through, or like, especially like in my life, and also being Dominican, always goes parallel back to my work. Like even being in a bedroom, like my experiences, my favorite memories and my worst memories are in a bedroom when it comes to certain shit. Because also being Dominican and growing up being first generation American, my mom always had everybody, like anybody who got their visa ended up coming to the U.S., they lived with us. So my house was always full. Never, I shared a bed until I was like 15, 16. I always had that sense of community around because I was always kind of living on top of another person.
Yeah.
So when I was in a loft, a lot of people would find that like uncomfortable, invasive, and you know, flat out they wouldn't do it. I feel like I was so flexible in taking that chance because I'm just like, I don't care like about the living conditions. I'm more here for like I wanna be in Los Angeles, and I feel like LA will like take a chance on me being an artist as opposed to New York, that I feel like New York is very elitist. Like New York like New York places didn't show me love, so I had my first museum show out here.
Well, I'm wondering, I mean, for me, a lot of living with different generations was, I mean, of course, dealing with different personalities, but also it was connecting to different women in my family. And I'm wondering, just like for you living with a lot of people, if there was any cross-generational connections that were significant to you.
Yeah, we definitely. I don't know how to explain it. Like I was definitely my mom for sure, because my mom is very old school, but I'm the complete opposite of old school. I'm the internet kid in the family, so we're very fucking different. Like so different that she always looks at me and she's just like, I don't know how the fuck I gave birth to you. We do not alike. But it was comforting in a sense, because then I learned as I got older, like why my mom did certain things she did and why things developed the way they did. But it's also cool, like showing her like something different she's never experienced before, and like firsthand being her daughter.
What is your connection to the DR these days? Is it a place that you go back to? Is it a place that you carry with you without having to visit? How do you feel when you see yourself as a person who's, from the DR?
I haven't been to DR in about like 5 years, but I'm going next month.
Amazing.
I haven't been there. My dad got deported, so he lives out there, so I haven't seen him in forever either. I feel like now more than ever, like living in Los Angeles where I'm isolated away from that community, I have a very deep appreciation of being Dominican and first generation Dominican doing art. And like I daydream about DR a lot. I dream about there a lot because a lot of my memories as a child was there too.
What are your dreams like? Are they, do you think that they're memories of you being in DR, or are they kind of like interpretations of DR that are emotional?
I feel like definitely like there are memories tied into different experiences and stuff, because I remember how my father's house was when I was younger, but then when I pulled up there in person, it was the complete opposite. Like when I was younger, there was like fruit trees and it was a beautiful painted home, and then like when I pulled up there, everything was exactly the same, and I'm like, wait a second. I'm fucking 21. Not even, I'm 20. Last time I was here, I was 5. Y'all got the same couch with the radio. This is kind of crazy. Like, when we was pulling up, I was like, that's an ugly ass house. And then when we go through the drive through, I'm like, wait, this is our house? Like, it was like, it's like RIP to that memory. But it's crazy because I dream about the house, how it used to be.
Do you feel like memory is an important part of your creative process?
Yes, memory is everything to me. Actually, this show was called Memories Hurt.
Okay.
But yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, definitely memories play into everything that I kind of do, even though I try my best to not live in the past. But I just feel like if that shit didn't happen, would I be who I am? Like, so I definitely feel like memories play into everything when I make it. Because I also look at what I did before to see if I could do some new shit too.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like when I was a kid, like blankets, I feel like that's how I remember Gopher. And that's why I use it too, because I feel like everyone has kind of a positive memory with it.
Yeah. When you think of the kind of spaces that you're making with Gopher, do you hope that they leave a certain impression on people who experience them, or do you kind of like when people have really different interpretations of them?
I kind of like when people have their own interpretations of everything. Like, that's why I don't like explaining too much the meaning of my stuff, because I don't want people to be set in a certain box. Like, if people be like, what does that mean? I'll be like, well, what does it mean to you? Like, and then I like hearing other people's perspectives, because then when I tell them mine, they be like, what? Yeah, but sometimes it is the same shit. It's just crazy. That's why I like hearing it and see how, we interconnect in that way.
Wondering just a bit more about what you're saying of just being put in a box. I'm curious if you relate to being called a Latinx artist. Is that something that you find inclusive, or is it something that you want to, challenge?
Honestly, like, I don't mind it at all. Like, because I feel like Latinx, and it was even created in a way to like kind of like push against the oppression that has been fucking put on us and stuff. Especially like, yeah, especially with like the history and all the other shit associated to that. I feel like I don't mind being called Latinx. I feel like Latinx was made to be like, yo, fuck our oppressors. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so
true.
I feel that.
You growing up in both New York and now living in LA, they're two places that have a significant Latinx population.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find any inspiration from the cities themselves?
Yes, because I feel like in New York I connect with all my Dominican people.
And I feel like definitely at home, but over here I definitely connected way more with the Mexican culture
And their food and everything, and getting to know that culture as well, which is really dope. It's funny because anytime that I speak to like an older Mexican woman and then she hears my accent, she's always like, "Where the hell are you from?" But I like that we can still connect as like a Latinx community just by being from two different cultures. Like, definitely still support my Latinx community.
What's something that upset you, made you feel like shit, but now makes you giggle?
Oh my God, a lot of things. My life be like a tragic comedy. I feel like a Pokemon I've evolved. I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? I was like, oh, you don't know it. And also different art that I was into, like different things that I made where I feel like at the time it was like, I don't know, I didn't even fuck with it. It was really sad. Now that I'm older, I like laugh at it. It's like it's all a part of the process. I feel like before when I used to make art in the beginning, it was like always very sad because I hated what the fuck I made all the time. I was just like, yo, what the fuck? But like now I look back and I'm like, wow, I was fucking tripping. Like now I know that you gotta make a lot of shit you don't like to like make one thing that you do really like. You have to like explore options and shit. So.
Yeah. What makes you feel like hot shit?
I dress like the main character in my movie, always. I feel like that makes me feel like the hot shit. If I'm dressed crazy, I feel crazy. I take pride in like how I look. I feel like before when I was younger, like, yeah, I don't care. And like I was more like definitely like raw and rugged. And then now, because I used to associate it with capitalism, and then now that I'm older, I'm like, bitch, you could look good to look good. Like it don't gotta be attached to nothing, you know what I mean?
What kinds of shit are you into these days?
Oh my God, I'm into a lot of things. I'm into a good color palette. I'm into a good anime. I'm into good conversation, good weed, good thoughts, good partners, good community. That's definitely what I've been into. And lately, I've been into good video games.
Well, thank you very much for sitting with us.
Thank you.
It's been so nice to talk to you and get to know more about your work. And to hear your history. It's great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.